word with something positive that goes down on Monday Night Raw. What up, BTT Universe? This is The Last Word. We are live every single Monday night, right around 11:10 p.m. We got to give you guys a chance to go get a drink after Monday Night Raw. Kind of settle in and settle down. Now, if you have any questions for me or my partner, put them into the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we possibly can. And oh, by the way, thanks for helping BTT grow to almost 10,000 YouTube followers. We're going to get there in the next week or two. Let's bring in my partner. Yeah, he's every time. And usually when he's in a bad mood, we are presented, as always, by MyBookie. I love it when he's got Tommy's beef on his mind that comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday. Tommy, Big T, what's up, man?
What's happening, Coach? And the last word for me is that was a good show tonight. What do you think?
It's a little weird for me to come on and be positive. The chat is always telling us we're too negative.
Yep.
So I want to start and just be a baby face. Can I be a baby face tonight, Tommy? Can I do that?
That's hard for you. That's very hard for you.
Completely against my character. But I want to say hi to Chavez, Rich, what's good? Little Al, Jordan, everybody that came here tonight live. This is what I'm talking about, Tommy. This is how you get over with the people. And that's the word I want to start with tonight. Over, O-V-E-R, because we've been talking about, Tommy, on BTT for weeks, no, for months. Give the people what they want. I was shocked that after a really good match, he came out prior to 10:30 Eastern time. They were out there for a half an hour. He came down through the crowd, Tommy, and I'm like, please, can they please give him the Intercontinental title tonight? They're not going to do it on free TV, and Tommy, they did, and the crowd erupted for Jey Uso. How cool was that ending tonight?
I loved it, Coach, and I'm like you. I didn't think they were going to give him the title on a Raw, but I love it. It's against what everybody thinks. It always has to be on a PLE. It always has to be on a PLE. Well, expect the unexpected, and they did it tonight, and they gave him a well-deserved title, and he needs to have that title to make himself become more of main event Jey Uso.
There are very few superstars that have it or have something. And sometimes when you say somebody has it, you don't know exactly what it is. But I saw on Sports Keto Wrestling on the Twitter, where I have a little show called the Coach and Bro Show. Did you see that Rhea Ripley came out and she was watching on the side of the ramp and she was yeeting with everybody else? Tessitore yeeting with everybody else. By the way, Rich wants to know, what's your football team, Giants or Jets? It's the Jets, Rich. Let me continue. So,
whose football team?
Yours.
Giants.
Oh, my bad. I've only known you for 25 years. How did I get that wrong? My bad, Tommy.
We know who your team is.
3-0, and we're playing like dog crap. All right.
Go ahead.
But, Tommy, why is it so hard sometimes? They want to make storylines last longer. They want to make things drag out. Sometimes it's right in front of you on a silver platter. They did business right tonight. You hear Tessitore? 14 years. Yep. No singles championships. Finally got it done tonight. I feel really, because I like him a lot as a person too. He's always been good to me.
Yep, absolutely. And he deserves it. And listen, Braun has been on the roster 6 months. They gave him a major title. He doesn't need it. He needs to grow more. And he's going to grow more in this company, and he's going to become a really big time major league top star. So he really doesn't need a title right now. He needs to grow and learn more, and that's what they're going to do with him.
Jordan says, finally a surprise title change on an episode of Raw. Soupy, member of our crew on DTL, says title changes on free TV are more special, in my opinion, because it really is unexpected. I also thought, Tommy, they did a really good job with the build. It wasn't just one package throughout the night. There was a couple of different times where Tess tossed to something, and it was something different. And I thought, man, they're really making this thing big. They had a 3-week build with all the triple threat matches into the Fatal 4-Way. And it's rare that we give them credit, Tommy. It really is. I'm almost getting choked up over here, Tommy.
Yeah,
I'm almost choked up. But I don't want to give the writers, because the writers have nothing to do with it. Give Triple H and the powers that be. And how emotional do you think Jey Uso is right now backstage? This means something to these guys.
Absolutely. To Jey alone, It means a ton. It means that this guy is on his way to be maybe someday, very soon, to be up there going against Cody. Who knows, right?
Who
I would
knows?
see that. I would love to see Cody and Jey go at it, man. I like Jey a lot, and he's earned every bit of it. And maybe they were listening to Rikishi too, huh?
Yeah, well, Rikishi on the other side, the flip of the coin, this week, a very ominous quote on
Yeah.
Twitter asking for prayers for the other Uso, who's had a lot of out of the business problems that we know that have been well documented. And I really thought that when he disappeared a long time ago, months, could be a year at this point, I thought, Jey Uso. And then give Jey Uso credit. He went to work. He created this brand for himself. He created this entrance that the fans absolutely love. And I don't think anybody could have predicted what we saw tonight. But his merch is selling. And now the question is from Jordan in the chat, what is next for Braun? Jason Plays. What's next for Braun? What do we think happens to Braun moving forward?
Wow, that's a great question. I think he's going to want a rematch. I'm not sure if it's going to happen at Bad Blood. And even if it does happen at Bad Blood, I don't think he's going to retain the title at all. I think Jay's going to hold on for this title for a little bit, and he deserves it. So Braun will do what he has to do, and we'll see what happens with him. But at this point in time, this is Jay's time.
I'm so glad you mentioned Bad Blood because our incredible partners are MyBookie.ag. They've got odds out for Bad Blood. And I told you guys we are changing the game when it comes to sports betting and sports entertainment betting. I was completely against wrestling betting, but it's a ton of fun. So here's what I need you to do. And trust me on this, because I tell you all the time on DTL, we want to change the game. It's not just about signing, but I got to get you signed up first. So use that promo code BTT, and then I'm going to give you a 100% sign-up bonus up to $1,000, meaning you put in $1,000, I'll give you $1,000. And then you start playing. And I promise you, in the next month or two, we're going to be playing things together. Yep. Tommy, what in the world is that music when we play that?
That is telling everybody that with that picture of me up there, if you don't do it, there's going to be a guy named Nunzio knocking on your door.
Tommy, true story. Years ago, you remember when this happened to me? So when I was in my 20s, me and Tommy lived a mile or two from each other. Yeah. You remember when this happened? And so in my 20s, I may or may not. You got to remember, online betting didn't exist. You had to have a bookie, right? Yeah. So I had 2 bookies, and one of them was nicknamed Sharky for obvious reasons. Yeah. And so every Tuesday, Tommy, we had to drop off money or pick up at the bodega. And for those people who don't live in the Northeast, that's like a small shop that sells candy bars and crap like that. And I dropped it off every week for probably 3 years, probably. Yep. I get a call from Grish Dog. Did you see the headlines of the newspaper? Yes, people. There used to be newspapers that circulated.
Right.
And the headline was biggest mob bust since 1983. We've had this bodega under surveillance for 3 years. My heart is pumping, Tommy. I'm like, oh, damn, I'm on video somewhere dropping off an envelope of cash and another and another and another. Yep. And but as Grish told me, they're not after you. They're after the big dog. I kid you not, 18 months later, I'm driving down the road right by your house, and I get a call. I look down, it says Sharky on it. And I pick it up, and he's like, hey, coach, you can't wave at me? I'm like, Sharky dog, what's good? He goes, I just saw you. You just drove past me. We're still in business. I said, you're still in business? Didn't you get in trouble? Yeah, I'm going away next Thursday for 18 months, but it's all good. If you still want, and I'm like, oh my God, Tommy, true story. He called me 3 days before he went to the state pen and told me they controlled the entire prison. That was a whole nother life ago. A whole nother life ago. But you remember when that happened, right?
I remember when that happened. I had a friend of mine who was kind of involved back in the day, and I'm saying, hey, dude, he was going away. And I said, hey, dude, aren't you afraid of going away from us? He goes, Tom, are you kidding me? I go away, I lose weight, I drop about 80 pounds. Really?
Oh, my gosh. Oh,
not that you're in jail, it's that you're going to lose weight. Unbelievable.
That's exactly right. Oh, my gosh. That was the way it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s. Thank God for online betting. And thank God for in-person betting. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. Now, speaking of bad blood, tonight we got a very passionate, a very emotional, right into the camera promo, Tommy, from one Drew McIntyre. And I like that they had CM Punk do it last week and Drew McIntyre do it this week, because all I want to see now is these two beat the hell out of each other inside Hell in a Cell and settle this once and for all. We have odds. I'm going to do a video tomorrow. Heel Coach are picking two different odds courtesy of MyBookie. I'm going to make picks on video. I don't know if I can pick this one because CM Punk is a big favorite, Tommy. A big favorite.
Yep.
Do you agree with that? Do you think CM Punk will win at Bad Blood?
I do not think CM Punk is going to win, and this is all the more reason why this should be the main event match at Bad Blood instead of this potential of Gunther and Sammy. They teased it again tonight, Coach, with him saying no, brought him out there. He teased him, oh, we're going to, I'm in California, and we knew it was the big swerve coming, and he said no. Next week, it's going to be a match, and that is not a match I would look forward to ending the show. You want to end the show the right way? You have Drew and Punk end it the right way, because this storyline is going to end at Bad Blood. And you can tell the emotion.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You're talking about that match ending Bad Blood? I don't want to even see it on Bad Blood. What are you talking about? Gunther and Sammy? One of the six. Tommy, tell me it's not going to happen. Please.
Well, I think it is going to happen, and that's why I want Drew and Punk to end the show. And there's one thing, Coach, about his promo. He's a heel, right? And it was a dramatic promo. And the same thing with Punk last week. He even admitted like he didn't want to go into this match. For a heel to admit to something like that, saying, I talked to my wife and this and that. Like, you've never seen that passion before from a storyline, and I'm seeing it 2 weeks in a row with Punk saying, my wife, my sister, my this, and then Drew coming back, who's the big tough guy, right? And saying, I've had other matches before and I'm still not healed from it. And I even talked to my wife about it. That shows you the passion. And now you're engaged even more wanting to see that match. And that's why it should end the show.
I loved the line about I'm still not healed from other matches. I've told people all along, most fans have never been up close to a Hell in a Cell. They've never seen the chamber. And just, everybody, this is choreographed stuff. I'm telling you right now, you get standing next to that thing, it will change your career. It will change your life. This is no joke. And Tommy, they're trying to of these guys, because I don't care how big, I don't care how nasty, I don't care how tough you think you are. When you walk inside Hell in a Cell, just talk to Mick Foley, just talk to they will tell you it changed their careers forever. I like the direction they're going with this. Feed into it, because it's real. It is real. These guys, remember on days that there's a big, dangerous match, you don't want to be around these guys. They don't talk to anybody. They're huddled in a corner trying to go over every last moment. The facials, the camera guys, the producers, it all has to be on point. And this one has got to be on point. And you're right, Tommy. It should end the pay-per-view. But if Triple H has anything to say about it, you know how he feels. The World Heavyweight Championship has to go last. I think it's crap. I don't like it. I never have.
And this match has to be clean. Somebody has to have the 1, 2, 3, or just is so beat up that he can't continue, has blood all over him, or whatever the case may be. But it will end at Bad Blood. They cannot extend this storyline anymore, just the way they are cutting their promos right now.
Jordan in the chat says Hell in a Cell has to end Bad Blood. People will be drained after this match. Jordan, you're 100% correct. And we've said it before on this show. We were in attendance in Toronto when I've seen it happen at its highest. Rock, Hogan, next to last match, co-main, and then Triple H demanded to go last against Chris Jericho. The dumbest decision maybe in the history of WrestleMania ever. You can't follow Rock Hogan. You can't follow this Hell in a Cell. You're watching The Last Word. We are live every single Monday. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've had several different things that we do. Every single Friday, we drop an episode. It's only 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. We don't take up a lot of your time on one big topic. We're going to end the show tonight commenting on the statement that Vince McMahon released earlier tonight and the reaction from the lawyer, we're not going to run from the story. You all know how tight I was with Vince, how close I was with Vince. So was Tommy. We're not going to run from this story. We are still planning on shows Wednesday after the 6-part docuseries comes out. After I watch all of it, we're going to comment right here. So turn on your notifications so you can get our reaction. Nobody else can tell our story because nobody else was there but me and Tommy and my partner, Vince Russo, as well. We're still trying to figure out if we're going to do it together or what we're going to do. All right, Tommy. A couple other things I did like tonight outside of the main event. What do you think they're really doing with The Miz? He was a sidelight to setting up what's going to be a last monster standing match next Monday night on Raw. Apparently, Bad Blood is too stacked with matches, so they're going to give you this next Monday. And tonight, I guess, Tommy, I didn't realize that 12 guys can't stop one. That's what I learned tonight. 12 dudes. And then, Tommy, can we please cut away from the wide shot when all 8 guys are huddling around Braun in the ring, looking up to make sure Bronson Reed is there, and then he throws them off? Can we cut to something so we don't see that? How bad was that?
That's really bad. And how about when they're waiting outside the ring and everybody thinks, Braun is going to do the big jump there, and Bronson Reed breaks away, and I'm like, oh, they're setting this up, and you see Braun get there, and then you just see all these guys just waiting there, standing over kind of like Bronson Reed, and then he breaks away from the whole thing. I mean, don't state the obvious all the friggin' time. And we've seen every one of these security guys. Where are WWE superstars? You'd make it more realistic if you brought WWE superstars in the ring to separate this guy. But I guess that's too logical, Coach.
Tommy, you got to have the 18 extras sitting in a hallway dressing all day because they can't give them a locker room, which is the most ridiculous practice in the history of WWE or pro wrestling. You got to respect. You got to earn your way in the locker room. I earned my way in the locker room. I still think it's stupid. Yep. The minute they let me in the locker room as a full-fledged worker, that was like a big, big, big deal. And all of those guys are extras. They make them dress in a hallway. It's ridiculous. But the other part of this, and I'll give Miz a lot of credit because over the years, he's eaten a lot of crap in his career when he got there and then as he's climbed the ladder. But you got to believe tonight he was an afterthought. Yep. He got an entrance. He got a backstage. They're teasing him. Right now, he's kind of on the outside looking in, and I know Miz very, very well. And when you get into this type of situation, Tommy, and you've been around for well over 10 years, that paranoia starts to set in, and you say, wait a second, am I on my way out? Even if you're not, that's how they all think.
Yep, they all do. And then there was a pre-tape with him and Karrion Kross. Again, Karrion trying to lure him into his final testament or whatever the name of that group is, because Karrion Kross is another guy. He's up in the air. What are they doing with this guy? Like, he gives you this evil look, and it's like he can control your mind or whatever the case may be. He tried to get Xavier in there, and now he's working on Miz. So where are they going with him? And it's like Miz is like, man, if I've been reduced to this, I come in and do an entrance, and then they upchuck me with a match with these two giants. And then I got the segment before, Karrion Kross trying to lure me in. Where the frig am I going with this? Like, I would question it big time.
I would too, but by this point, he's got to be making, I would say, between $1 million and $2 million. So you never want to mess that up. You never want to mess up that money. And he's got a big name, and he's a great company guy, and he does anything that they want. So he's the epitome of way more valuable than just a match on Monday Night Raw. Now, Tommy, he's also got to be looking at the fact, was it a 3-segment match between Damage Control and that other duo that I can never remember their name?
Fire and Desire, Dawn and
Fire and Desire.
I know.
Tommy, this women's division. Oh my gosh, the pre-tape, and we're gonna critique them just like we do with the men. I can't stand when they get divided up, and if they're bad, damn it, we got to say they're bad. Tommy, the pre-tape between Belair and Jade,
yes,
and Damage Control, they tried to walk away twice and then forgot they had more lines. Did you notice that?
Yes.
What are we doing? How do you forget that you have 2 more lines? And why do you put Jade in front of Belair when she's clearly bigger than her?
I was thinking the same exact thing. Like, she towers over Bianca.
Oh, gosh.
And it's like, why would you do that? But you got to make them kind of even. The only time, it was the taller is guys like you were tall and you had to spread your legs to make yourself look shorter. So the superstars always towered over everybody. Am I right or wrong? But Jade doing that in front of her. And by the way, she's not believable at all, Coach. I'm sorry, man. It's just the way she talks and the way she says stuff. It's like you don't friggin' believe it. Am I right or wrong?
It's like she never works at her craft. And I say it all the time. If you can't talk, you can't get over. And it feels like she's reciting words from a page that they handed to her 5 minutes before they record the promo.
Oh.
And the problem is when you bring somebody over and pay them, I mean, she was a big signing. So let's say 7 figures let's say a round number, $1 million. Then if I'm her, every minute that I have, I am trying to. And sometimes, Tommy, people just don't have it. Not everybody can talk like you and I do. Not everybody can do that. There's a reason that I've had the career that I've had because I can talk, not because I can walk in there and fight against Hardcore Holly. Are you kidding me right now?
Right.
You've got to be able to. And so how they haven't worked with her or tried to work with her, she hasn't gotten better. And she's bringing Belair down. And it feels so forced. And then they're talking down to 2 women that are about a foot shorter than they are. It just doesn't make any sense. And by the way, you mentioned it, Tommy, for those people watching at home a little behind the curtain, part of the reason I had to get into the ring is we were shooting a pre-tape, and Vince loved for everybody to be smaller. Well, I'm 6'3". I walk around 240, 250, depending on the day. So I had to spread my legs behind whatever talent I was interviewing. Well, one day we were doing a tag team, and there was going to be a fight. Well, the cameraman zoomed out before I had a chance to stand up. And so you see everybody fighting, and my legs are still like almost in a split. Yeah. It looked awful. Yep. It looked awful. And right after that, Vince came up to me in the gym at the tower, and he said, "We're thinking about doing this with you." And I was all for it. I hated doing backstage interviews anyway.
Yep.
It was much more fun.
Yep.
But that's how Vince believed.
Yep.
You're watching The Last Word. Look at the live number tonight. Such a good number. Thank you all for knowing that we are here, setting your notifications, and joining us when I know it's late for a lot of you on the East Coast. Out here in the West, it's only a little bit after 8:30. Raw's actually, thank God for apps, Tommy, because right now Raw is airing out here in the West, but I can get the app and watch at 5 o'clock local. Wouldn't it be fun to watch it at 5 o'clock local time?
Oh, that'd be great.
That's when it is out here.
Yeah.
By the way, Jordan, we're just joking around. We know the names of them. We just like to say that we don't because they're forgettable. But thank you, Isla Dawn and Albert Fry. They're very, very forgettable. Do you think, Tommy, that when they go out and they get no reaction, what do you think that feels like?
It's like me walking out. It's like me walking down the ramp. Who the hell is this fat guy?
That was one of the greatest things ever. Is the first time I got my entrance music and got my own entrance, and then they booed. Oh, and then they booed louder. I mean, me and Dom had so much in common, Tommy. So much in common.
Yep.
Speaking of Dom, we found out tonight that Rhea Ripley and Liv, they will battle it out for the women's championship, and Dom will be in what? A snake
shark
cage. A shark cage. Explain that to me. I didn't quite understand it. Do you understand it?
I think it's just a big cage. I don't even know why they call it a shark cage. Why can't you just say a cage? Why is there got to be a shark cage? Is there a shark coming out somewhere? Is Jaws music going to happen or what? Just say it's a fucking cage, guys. Come on. Oh, he's loaded in a shark cage. Oh, I get it now. Okay.
DG says Dom on a pole.
Dom on a pole. And by the way, Coach, in that match, I think Rhea is going to win. I think Rhea's going to get the title at Bad Blood. Although I don't agree with that, I think it's going to happen.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I've changed my mind on this.
Why do you think
so? Because I think she's done enough in creative eyes. They think she's done enough to win the title and maybe kind of separate her from Damian Priest with this Terror Twins. But God knows I do not want to see her, and we talked about this a week ago, being something into a romantic storyline with Jey, which would be friggin' ridiculous. It would make no sense at all. It doesn't help either one of them. So I hope that doesn't happen. Although Tessator made a very great point, and I don't think we saw it on camera at all, that she was out there yeeting when Jey Uso had his entrance and even during the match. So why would you even say that? Because now you're teasing that even more, that they could be something happening down the line. Would it make sense to you to do this, Coach? Am I missing something?
Explain that again. I'm a little confused at anything you just said. Seriously.
No, during the match, Joe Tessitore said, "Oh, Rhea Ripley's on the side over here, and she's yeeting away, going for Jey Uso."
Oh no, they ended up showing it on social media.
Oh, I didn't.
And yeah, I saw it on Sportskeeda Wrestling. She just came out to the side and she was yeeting, just because I think it's just a way. I think they were just trying to get everybody that made sense connected to Jay to come out tonight, and they've done so much in the last 3 weeks. I think it was just an added bonus. I don't think there was anything to it.
Really?
I really don't. Yeah, I saw the video. It was just like her just out to the side of the cage. It wasn't any big
strange that they've been doing stuff for the past couple of weeks, like teasing.
Yeah.
Which
my man Casey Walkup said, I thought tonight was one of Rhea's better promos recently. When she talks, Tommy, she's good. When she yells in that accent, it's not good. It just isn't.
Yep.
And they need to understand her tone. And for those people who don't understand what I'm talking about, we've taken classes. There are voice coaches out there. When I went, Tommy, from calling wrestling for 10 years and I went to ESPN, I had to meet with a voice coach to learn how to tone down my voice, because I was so loud and I was screaming because I had just called Monday Night Raw for whatever the last 3 years. And so Rhea needs to learn how to adjust her tone so it's not so screeching and it just kind of just annoys and just kind of gets into you. I don't like that part.
Yep.
You agree?
Yep. I agree, and she was very understandable tonight. She wasn't yelling, and I like when you don't yell. The same thing that Braun does. He cut a great promo tonight. Braun also doesn't yell, and I love that. I hope more of the superstars jump on that, because it makes a lot of sense. You don't have to scream in my face to let me know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. For those that want to see the Rhea video, thank you to Rich. He said it's on WWE social media. Rich says Rhea is going to treat Jay to Waffle House. Waffle House is one of our top 3 when we're on the road for WWE. You guys would be surprised. The top 3 places to eat after a show, Tommy.
Yep.
Waffle House.
Whataburger.
If you're in Texas, Whataburger.
Yes.
And the third spot. And I remember whenever I'd get into a relationship and then engaged and then married, they never quite understood why we had to go eat at a strip club. But we did. It was the only place at midnight that's serving a steak. Yep. And all the guys needed protein. And we all explained that to our significant others, and they never bought it. They never bought it. And the worst time about a strip club, Tommy, you guys get all kinds of stories here at The Last Word. It's not just about Monday Night Raw. Come on. So, Tommy, we were in Austin one time, and there was like probably 12 or 15 of us. And the owner, for some reason, asked to take a picture. And rule number 1, you never take a picture at a strip club, ever, right?
No.
So we did, because we were doing that. We were there to eat dinner. We're all like slicing steaks. And so he has this picture on his website. And then there started to be websites that were going out there to find pictures of wrestlers and stuff. So they find this picture from 3 years prior. Well, there was 12 wrestlers in the picture. 8 of them were now married in those 3 years, including your boy. And so they put it out in the National Enquirer as if it had happened last week. And all of us are like, ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-ding. Sweetheart, I don't even know what you're talking about. We haven't been in Austin in, carry the one, 3 years, right? It was such a bad situation for a lot of people. And that was, I think, the last time we ever took a picture in one of those establishments.
Wow.
You were
so
never
you had
in
a
those.
steak.
Those
you had a steak at the strip club.
And look, 24KN says we're still not buying it. It's true. It is absolutely true. Oh my gosh. It is the only place we could get a steak. The only place we could.
Unless you were the chairman back in the day, and we shoot our pre-tape late. We shot something late, and it was like 12, 1 o'clock, and Vince always had to have his steak. And so where we go, he would say, tell his assistant, call Morton's Steakhouse in the local city, and they would stay open just for him.
There was a time, do you remember when Triple H he wanted to be a big movie star? So he got a spot in, what was the one with Wesley Snipes? What's the movie with Blade? So he was in Blade 3. He was the big heel in Blade 3. So the opening was in Toronto. And so I get a call and they said, Coach, you need to go to Toronto and host this big thing at the movie theater for Triple H. And then we're all going to go eat afterwards. I get to LaGuardia and it's so windy that the planes can't take off. And I'm thinking, oh, thank God. I'm driving home in the limousine, Tommy, I kid you not. And I get a call, hey, Stephanie's heading to the private jet. Hop in with her, and you can fly up with Vince and Linda and Shane and his wife and Stephanie. And I'm like, no. Everybody thinks, oh, this must be the greatest thing in the world. No, it's not. I promise you. It's not a place you want to be. So we get to Vince's plane, and we get on, and it's Vince, Linda, Shane, his wife, and Linda. Triple H is already in Toronto. And then me. And so there's 6 of us. So I'm sitting on, there was 4 bucket seats and then 4 kind of couches in the back. Come on, Coach. Remember the Yoshi. I remember all these names. So we're taking off. And Tommy, I kid you not, we're up in the air like 10 minutes and we start to go down. I'm like, we can't be in Toronto already from White Plains, New York. And Linda McMahon turns around. Oh, we're stopping to get Triple H Paul Levesque. We're stopping to get his parents in New Hampshire and take them with us. His parents were the greatest people in the world. Yeah. The greatest people in the world. They get on, and Tommy, I want you to imagine this happening. They get on the plane, and his parents, just old school, probably in their 70s, maybe early 80s, and they look at Stephanie, and they go, Stephanie, you didn't need to send a limo for us. We could have driven ourselves. And Linda says, if you're going to be movie star parents, you need to be treated like movie stars yourself. Oh. And the mother goes, but Steph, we just live right over there. You can see our house. They lived right across the street from the little airport, and she's in a limousine to drive them a block. I kid you not. That's to drive them a block, right?
Oh, my God.
So it gets better. We get up to Toronto, and the place is bananas, like people everywhere. They had forgot to tell them that I wasn't coming. So they had hired some comedian to do the emceeing out front. All good. I didn't want to do it anyway. Right. We go in. We watch the movie. They rented out, the Needle in Toronto? They have a restaurant up there. Yes. So they keep it open just for our group afterwards. So Trish Stratus had joined us. So we sit down at our table. We're the only table in the whole place. And me and Trish are all the way at the end, and we don't want to be there. We're like, can we just go? Nope. We still have to fly back to Connecticut that night. So all of a sudden, Stephanie stands up with a toast. And I'm like, this might be the greatest moment ever. And she gives a toast to her husband. And the last line was, I'd like to give a toast to my husband, Paul, as we looked up at the big screen and we watched all of his dreams come true. Here's to Triple H, movie star, on his first major motion picture, the first of many. I kid you not, Tommy. And I'm sitting there going, this is worth the whole trip. This is worth the whole trip. I cannot wait to tell everybody I run into this story right here. Trish Stratus looked at me like, what are we watching? What are we watching? I remember Shane was looking down like, what the hell is this? I'm telling you, Tommy, it was classic. Absolutely classic. Those were some of the fun times that we had, back in the day. There was a lot of times that were not as fun, but we had a lot of fun times. Huh, Tommy?
Yes,
you didn't like the road, though. That's been well documented.
I mean, after the 4th year, it just got crazy.
You got a little bit old, right?
Yeah, I got old. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Tommy. Well, the one thing here at BTT, and I want everybody to understand this, that when we talk about Vince, we talk about Vince in the narrative that he is a part of these stories. We don't agree with anything that's happened or any of the alleged things that have happened, but we are going to react to the docuseries and give our takes on what is happening and the narrative that is. Because between me and Tommy, for those of you who don't know, over 45 years working for Vince in the WWE. For me personally, I flew on his jet for over 3 years, week in and week out. I sat next to him on that jet more times than I care to talk about. So I feel like, Tommy, it's our duty to give our feedback on things that are happening and the docuseries, which is released, I think, all 6 episodes Tuesday night at midnight. So we're still trying to figure out when we're going to do our reaction. But today, Vince went on the offensive. And I want to read everybody his statement that he put on Twitter today. And then I want to get your reaction to it, Tommy, okay? So this is what he says. Let me get my glasses on here. And he says, I don't regret. Now, this was an entire WWE piece that was basically his idea at the beginning. I don't regret participating in this Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut that I've seen, this doc falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. The title and promos alone make that evident. And he goes on to say a few other things. So, Tommy, it's pretty clear to me that he has decided that the notion that he's not going to take accountability or whatever he's been accused of, he is flat denying. And Janelle, I think Carter's her last name. I don't want to get her last name. Pardon me?
Grant.
Or Janelle Grant. Thank you. So Janelle Grant, her lawyer, came out with a response. We're not going to show that right now. But basically, it said it's offensive that he would say that this was an affair when clearly it was not. When you read this statement 2 days before this docuseries comes out on Wednesday, these are very serious charges. He's been not seen in public for a very, very long time, and he's using Twitter to defend himself. And I don't know right now. I'm a little conflicted on how I feel about it. There's no accountability here. He's just attacking the producers. What was your take?
Well, he knows that it's going to be a chop job on him, right? I mean, let's face it. He's going to the way this documentary is going to come out, and I think they have the rights to everything, so they're going to do what they want. So, it's called covering your ass, and he's not taking accountability. Look, you're innocent until proven guilty. That's the way it is in America. All this stuff's going to come out, whatever happens between him and Janelle, and that's for another day. But Vince came out because he knows on the 25th, when this thing comes out, it's not going to show Mr. McMahon in a very good light in anything that he did, either with the business or his outside activities that he did, and which we're talking about right now. So he did a little bit of covering your rear end, saying, hey, I'm not getting a fair shake here, folks. So please, when you're watching this documentary, just think about that. Think about what Netflix is going to do. Now, whatever it is with Janelle is happening. It's going to happen. You're going to hear about it in court. He's a major, major figure in entertainment and everything. Everybody knows who Vince is. So he sent this tweet out today saying, hey, look, trick photography, they're using interviews from years back to put me in a bad light, even though nothing has come out yet with the trial or anything like that. And everybody, hey, let's face it, Coach, everybody's already focused their opinion on what's going on.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And now this documentary is just going to pile on it, and he's just trying to save a little face, which he's not gonna, by the way. So we'll just see what happens when this thing comes out, and we're going to react to it naturally. We worked very close with Vince. Like, nobody ever worked closer to Vince, probably Kevin Dunn and Vince Russo. But as regular people in this company, Coach was with him every day. I was with him when special projects, when we did the summit, when Shotgun Saturday Night, I was with him. When we did other stuff, I was with him all the time. So I got to know him a little bit, and it's shocking that all this is coming out, and I hate it the way it's all ended. And it's just it's a really bad situation, and it's going to get worse, I think.
I have the word sad. And
yes.
There have been a few people in my life and career that you never think that you're going to know somebody that can do X or know somebody that can do Y. And for Vince, the reason I'm so conflicted is there was a time, Tommy, and you know this probably better than anybody, that I was as loyal to him as any human being could possibly be. I used to brag that I never told him no. You asked me to do
Right.
something, damn it, I'm going to do it. And with that comes seeing certain behavior and seeing him treat people a certain way. And I just didn't like that.
Yep.
And certain powerful people, and we've seen several of them come down or be knocked down or be brought down in the last year or two. We're seeing it right now. We saw it with Harvey Weinstein. We saw it with P. Diddy right now. And now Vince is kind of the next in line. And it's very hard to be sympathetic in any way, shape, or form when literally you built a billion-dollar business and you're the American dream, and you use that power in some way, shape, or form that's not in the best light. And I don't want to use specifics because there's been nothing that's been proven yet, but I know it's bad. And I know that he got thrown out of his own company. And I know that now there are no McMahons, Tommy, involved in the WWE. Why this is a hit job, it's very obvious, Tommy, why they would turn this into a hit job. I got called. I think I told you. I think I got called. I got called for 3 different documentaries. I didn't know which one was which. But Tommy, this was his idea at the beginning. When they were going to go to Netflix, Vince had no clue that all of this was going to come out or he would get caught or whatever the case might be. And so he sat down for over 200 hours, Tommy. So if they have a really good editor, they could turn those 200 hours into something different. You can use one from here and move it over to here. And I think that's what he's talking about in this statement. But regardless, if you're TKO, and you're the company that owns the WWE now, you want to get as far away from Vince as you humanly possibly can. So, Tommy, if they're going to start in January, I promise you there have been meetings behind closed doors with Netflix executives, and they say, make this as bad as possible. Make this as bad as possible because they don't want any sympathy for Vince. They don't want anybody feeling sorry for Vince, and they want everybody to bury Vince, whether it's warranted or whether it is not. That's what they want because now, Tommy, they're moving into a new partnership with Netflix. That's what they're doing. What do you expect in the first? What I told Vince Russo this today, that I feel like the last 3 will be, quote unquote, the money. I think the first 3 will be how he built the bill, and then I think the last 3 will be where they really bring the hammer down. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And you hit the nail on the head about TKO. It's a new beginning for him. It's a new beginning for WWE and TKO together. And like, we're the saviors of this company that's doing so bad. Meanwhile, it's the cash cow. We all know what the cash cow between UFC and WWE is. It's WWE, folks. Don't let it get it twisted one bit. WWE is making the money here, and they're coming in as a savior. So what they want to do, they want to bury the old school guys. They want to bury the old guys that were there already and move on and say, hey, look, we're the saviors of this company. Look what we're doing right now. What better way to do it? On Netflix, on a documentary, which WWE and whoever else is still there have no creative control at all over it. And if they do have creative control, they're putting the hammer down.
Look at every move they're making.
Boom. Absolutely.
They're moving the Performance Center, a multi-million-dollar facility. They're moving it to Las Vegas. So UFC and WWE are in one spot. Look at all the people that have been fired that were connected to Vince. A lot of you watching right now may not even know it. You may not even know some of these behind-the-scenes people, but I can promise you they were there for years and years and years and years. And TKO just said, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, to start a completely new company. And, Tommy, when you spend your entire life, because we're all human beings, we all have feelings, and we all do good things, and most of us do bad things, but I know I've tried to get better as a human being as I've gotten older. I don't know how I could live with myself if I built something and then my family doesn't talk to me, my grandkids probably don't talk to me. Like everybody we've talked to, whether it's Vince Russo, we had Pete Gas, and that's going to air very soon, who's known Shane since he was a little kid. You build this entire company, Tommy, and then when it's at its peak, nobody involved anymore. Nobody involved anymore. To me, that's incredibly sad. That's incredibly sad. And we were there for the most popular time. And they can argue that it is right now because they're making the most money. It's not. It's not. I can promise you it's not.
Nope.
2000 to 2009 was the best time in the history of the WWE. Period. End of story. Full stop.
You're absolutely right. He brought it to places that nobody ever think they could have brought. We're calling professional wrestling or sports entertainment. He made everybody rich, Coach. And we all know it. It was behind his marketing, and all those dedicated people like me and you spent years there who put this company first before anything. And now all those old school guys that we know that are all gone is because of TKO, man. These guys, the heat just gets risen up so much. Like, fuck this, I'm out of here. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they are. I say they hide behind the money, because every single thing they put out is, oh, we had the biggest quarter, or it's a $5 billion deal. When in actuality, you've done a very good job of telling us exactly what it is, that a lot of international TV deals are being squashed because Netflix is now worldwide. And so, yeah, they're making $5 billion, but how many deals are not being done? You got to subtract that from the $5 billion deal. So it's not really $5 billion, but they hide behind that because they go, man, we're making a ton of money. We're making a ton of money. When in actuality, there's a lot of people that have committed to living in the Northeast. They're stuck. And now when they're at a certain point of their career, 20, 30, 40 years, and now you got to look for something else, but that's what TKO is doing. So for a lot of people, Nate says, I agree, Coach, attitude, ruthless was unmatched. Nothing in the world worth it if you lose your family. That's all you have until the end. And I think, Tommy, that's the one thing that we used to talk about all the time, because Vince is so different than anybody else. But you hear the saying all the time, the more successful you get, the less friends you have. Vince doesn't have any friends. He didn't have friends before all this happened. He didn't have anybody who could call him and say, hey, man, the game's on Saturday. You want to come over and watch? And so I used to say to myself, I don't care how much money he has. I would never want his life. I just wouldn't.
That's right.
Just wouldn't.
You're right.
And now look how it's all ended. I mean,
yep, I totally agree. You've hit it so hard that it's amazing. This guy always had this dream, and I keep bringing this up, to bring everybody together as a company. We were always in 3 separate buildings, right? And we finally get everybody in that one building, which is on 707 Washington Boulevard, with the championship belt in front. And he can't walk in one step in that building anymore. End of story right there, Coach.
So once again, Netflix will release this 6-part documentary. From what we understand, it will all be released at one time. We will have our full reaction either Wednesday or Thursday in a special episode of BTT. We're hoping to have Vince Russo on with us, because Vince worked hand in hand building Monday Night Raw into the juggernaut that it was, with The Rock, with Stone Cold Steve Austin, with Triple H. And the last thing I will say, and Vince has said this on our show, he said that he believes, because of how they're moving more into the entertainment side of things, and you're seeing that tonight with the Roman Reigns and the Cody Rhodes on the football field, very dramatic, very cinematic, that he doesn't believe within 18 to 24 months that Triple H will even be in charge anymore, will even be there anymore. Did you notice who was at the end of the WrestleMania in Vegas promo tonight, Tommy?
Yes, I did.
And that would be
Paul Levesque. Are you talking about that man right there?
Yes, you're damn right.
Yeah.
Why would you put your senior, unless it's an ego thing? And he just came out on the first SmackDown. You're not, and this is what Vince used to do. Mr. McMahon, the character, the one he's talking about in this statement right here, that character would come out. Paul Levesque is not a separate character. He was a big-time superstar called Triple H. So you can't do what Vince used to do, to come out and start the first SmackDown. And now when you've got Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, whoever you could have put over on the end of that promo, and he's the one that put himself there. Wow. You got tons of talent. You could have used anybody.
Yep.
Anybody.
Yep.
They used him.
Yep. There's a reason.
Nate G says, that'd be a shame. Triple H has done a great job. I actually have always gotten along with Triple H. I have no issues with Triple H.
Me too.
Yep. It's just, you guys have to understand that back when he was, he was a big, everybody evolves. And he went from wearing jeans and a black jacket to showing up one day with a briefcase and in a full suit and tie. We're like, who the hell is this? But he wanted to be the next Vince. So when you see him in charge right now, this is something he always wanted, Tommy. Yeah. This was part of his career path, right? All the way 20 years ago when he started coming in to the production meetings. And he would sit at the front table with Vince and Kevin Dunn and everybody else. And he was the only wrestler we called one of the boys in the room. And when you're in the room, just like we criticize Monet, you can't control your creative because now it looks selfish.
Yep.
And it looks like you're putting yourself over. And he was. We all know that he was. But this is where he's always wanted to be. This is also the tough thing because when people go, oh, coach, you only spent 15 years. Like, that's not a long time. Right. But very few people spend 20, 30, 40 years. Very few. He's one of them. He's one of them.
You're going to get the real take here, man. Coach has been with him. I've been with him. We're going to shoot on this. So you guys got to tune in and see us because we give you the real reaction, not the bullshit reaction. I had these sources that told me this on these bullshit podcasts that you see. Coach was with him on the plane. I was backstage with Vince. I sat ringside with Vince. We were there, folks. We know.
All right. So that's going to wrap it up for tonight's last word. You can let your friends know. We always post this to our page. They can watch it on demand. We are live every single Monday night at 11:10 p.m. Eastern time. We'll put out a tweet or something on social media when we intend to react to the documentary. But there's good, there's bad, and there's ugly of this business. And right now we're going through a lot of the ugly. And that's just the way that it is, unfortunately. But that'll do it for now. Get some rest. Do not forget DTL, Driving the Line, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. live on Stadium, which is also on Amazon Prime Video. So hang out with us there. For Big Tommy C, for Producer Man, and our man Dan. We got a new intern. Love him. Love me some Dan. I am the coach. We'll see you next week right here on The Last Word. Take care.
It has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus. New pod order.